welcome back, guys. Two-part to what if cross-dressing Naruto had ice release. For those that don't know what happened last part, there's a link in the description and down below, or at the end of the what if. Naruto would be sneaking into the library. Well, not really sneaking into the library, but more specifically sneaking into the gaming section of the library for the 10th potential time. And this time, though, he was sneaking in to simply learn really somewhat more about elemental ninjutsu. It roughly somewhat learned doing his sort of read through of the academy section of the library, which he'd had learned about fairly early on. About elemental ninjutsu, but during that time he was more focused on kind of trying to perfect his illusion of being a female, and was getting more comfortable with cross-dressing, as after all, Son Konrichi are generally underestimated, or at least, less that and more looked down upon, which is an underestimation of their abilities, which is said to be true. Though sadly the majority of the time. But yeah, so Naruto was pretty much cross-dressing that because he had no idea of the transmission, because it was prior to even the knowledge of chakra and that, so he figured he'd go that way, and even now he still was still cross-dressing. Anyway, getting sidetracked. Yeah, so it always, kept that at the back of somebody's mind, as after all, he wanted to be, he wanted, someone who was the dead, she, though saw Naruto as a female, so pretty much saw her as just the dead last of the academy, the straight dead last that was pretty much riding the line, which should, in theory, kind of bring up questions on how on earth she seems to never get better, but never get worse, and always just ride that damn line between passing and failure. So yeah, maybe they did the first time or second time around, but third and fourth, Naruto. But yeah. Anyway, though, and why now? Well, had finally, or at least had felt like, or at least his perception of simply being a, main Konrichi instead was, or at least very much successful. It figured. So he thought that, well, as he couldn't really do much more, now he'd finally read up on the elemental ninjutsu. And yeah, so he'd successfully sneak in and would read about it, learning there were 5 elemental natures, which the academy book wouldn't go into. It just said there was elemental ninjutsu that allowed a shinobi or Konrichi to manipulate the elements, or that, something along those lines. Anyway, so, you'd sort of read up on that, and you'd realise that he would have to come back once he sort of knew of his affinity, and that apparently the fastest way to learn of one's affinity was to simply, or at least go to a store that, or at least find some of that sold chakra paper, or and afterwards react with his chakra to show his affinity or affinities. And yeah, so from there he would sort of leave, and it would become the next, or at least somewhat day, as it had been somewhat late when he'd decided that he'd do sneaking after kind of training and all of that. And yeah, figuring, kind of trying to aim it around time when it would be near closing time, so that hardly anyone was potentially in there to catch him or, well, her sneaking into the canning section. So, yeah. Though the next day, Nato would simply wake up and would go to the. Always would go to the Shinobi store that he generally went to, and to which the person would greet Naruto, and Naruto would kind of somewhat ask in a very sleepy tone if he had, or at least anything called, or somewhat paper chakra or chakra paper, to which the person would just crack an eyebrow, and he was wondering if Naruto was even awake, as Naruto seemed to just kind of words would just, or at least his words would just kind of slow out, just come out, and he could roughly piece together what Naruto was on about. So he'd tell Naruto to stay there, and a few seconds later would come back with a sing piece, to which he'd tell Naruto to simply channel the chakra into it, to which Naruto would simply nod, though which they should do it outside, to which he simply told her it was fine to do it in here. To which he just somewhat nod, not really putting up any of anything for an argument, to which definitely confirmed that Naruto seemed to be more asleep than awake, so Naruto would channel chakra into it after paying for it, of course, and they would proceed to both split in half and get wet at the exact same time, which would surprise the person. The person, as somewhat only, or at least somewhat news, and tried to inquire. It was rare for somebody to have, and to have two elements, a dual affinity. But it was even rarer for somebody to have a dual main affinity, as that was hardly heard of. It was, of course, heard of, but very rare. Of course, the benefits of it originally could mean that your body actually had no affinity, meaning that you could learning the other elements just as quickly as they were, say, to someone their main element, right? Say someone who's a main, their main affinity is fire. Even though you have no fire affinity, you can quite easily, your ability, your rapid ability to learn and control control it, and that would be like that of someone whose affinity is towards fire, or water, lightning, wind, earth, whatever. And yeah, though seeing that Naruto, well, at least was surprised and could barely, or at least hear what Naruto was even saying, would just, or at least ask if she was okay, to which Naruto would just simply nod and state that should be, or at least that should be back. Person would just nod and would wave goodbye, or at least would say goodbye and just say goodbye as well, going back home and proceeding to similarly pass out for 4 hours, this time being about 10 o'clock when Naruto would awake and have breakfast, get dressed, and very much brush his hair this time, before then kind of going to the store, wondering what elements he may have, as he pretty much slept to walk all the way there, though he was slightly curious on why he seemed to be missing a bit of money, though maybe he just miscounted and it was there. There's a few times he'd miscounted before, and yeah. Anyway, though, he'd arrive and the person would greet Naruto again. Naruto would ask him, clearly this time, if he had any chocolate paper, to which the person would kind of look at Naruto and go, you definitely were asleep then. Naruto would just throw her eyebrows and go, what do you mean? what do you mean by that? I just go, you came by about 4 hours ago, I guess. As you'd glance over and clock, yes, 4 hours ago. To buy chocolate paper, to see what your affinity was. Now to just nod down and go, I did only get one right, to which the person would nod, yes. And well, I presume you're here for one because you have no idea. Right, to which Nato would just nod. And you'd go, well, your affinities are water and wind. Nato would just nod and would thank the person and would then leave to sneak back into the library. Proceeding to do so, well, not into the library, but proceeding to sneak back into the gaming section of the library to read about what to do for wind and water, to which for wind it would tell her to slice the leaf in half between your hands, and that, or at least and that some tip would be, and I'd give it a tip of pretty much imagine the wind, kind of grinding together to sharpen one another, sharpen itself. And the water one would be to somewhat pour a certain amount of water from a lake, and to have it, stay to her hand as she pours her hand out of the lake or from on top of the lake bowl of water or whatever. And from there, 2 months would go by due to her kind of much better, and well, not only just much better, but much higher chakra control in that. She would somewhat be something that or at least should kind of pull her hands apart to see a leaf split in two, and would just let out a sigh and yes, I finally did it. After all, it had been 2 months, and sure, it'd been something, too much for level 2, not level 2, level 1 of wind manipulation, though she had been doing both wind and water. Anyway, and she had pretty much had no real concept on how long it should take her. Anyway, though seeing as I said it was still relatively, or at least seeing as it was still relatively early within the day, she figured that she can just, say to her water as well, and she'd walk over to the lake, and about 4 or so hours later, as the sun would start to set, and deciding that this would be her last try, she'd perceive to also gain a somewhat smile as she would perceive to get level 1 of water manipulation down as well, due to the much better chakra control, her of course ability to sort of it increased her overall or at least had decreased the overall time required for her to learn both wind and water. And anyway, from there though, time would pass as she'd read, sneak back into the gaming section again to read about what was required for, or at least if that was the next step, which that was, of course, it said level 1. So level 2 for wind would be splitting a waterfall in half, to which she'd wonder to herself, where on earth in Kona was she going to find a damn waterfall? And level 2 of water manipulation was to go a certain distance away from a body of water, and to then try and bring it, towards her. Right, the same amount she'd pulled from the lake to pull from the lake again, but the distance apart. And and so she'd proceed to do that as, of course, time passed, and she would turn finally 12. And about a month prior to the gaining exams should pretty much stop training in wind and water manipulation to focus on the 3 basic jutsus, as she could just about pull off the clone jutsu, so kind of wanted to focus on all 3 of them to at least get them down. And sure, she'd, or at least, seemingly kind of fake, do her heart, say like, make it seem like it took her a lot, somewhat a lot of effort to, say, do the jutsus when she's asked to do so. So to fake that, but she still, wanted to get them down to a high degree, and while, the month would pass and she would be sitting down in front of Iruka as Iruka would ask Naruto to do the replacement jutsu fast, which would be easy. She'd done it some amount a few times and knew this jutsu would be incredibly useful doing battles and that. As being able to replace oneself with really anything to get out of the line of fire was incredibly useful, and had thus focused on getting it down to requiring the hand signs, as after all you could be tied up and then replace yourself with a log. The log would be in your place and you'd have, would gain back access to your hands. Anyway, so from there, she would go through the 4 set of hand signs for the replacement jutsu, to which Iruka would nod, writing it down as a success, but no real extra points due to because it would be, it should do it enough to pass, but not enough to gain any necessarily extra credit, like doing it, say, one-handed, or just, say, getting rid of, say, a hand sign or two within it, or doing it seamlessly, for example. Though granted, nobody could actually do it seamlessly at the moment, or at least according to him, nobody could, but Naruto could. So she didn't exactly want to become the what's it called? The Rookie of the Year. Anyway, from there he would then proceed to ask Naruto to do the transformation, a Ramen and Jutsu should be kind of suddenly more actively used in the past roughly 2 years, even since or at least when his kind of more so, what I'd say is kind of somewhat his kind of cross-dressing sensei, though the store owner where he got his clothes from, she'd pretty much said kind of instructed Naruto to now roughly, or at least somewhat as more of his female classmates started to actually similarly grow chest out, to start necessarily wearing a bra, or that, padded bra to fake breasts and that. And after doing that for a bit, I did eventually just kind of threw the padded bra away and just used the damn transformation jutsu, finding that a lot easier to use than dealing with some padded bra and that. And yeah. Anyway, though, from there though, anyway, though Naruto would easily, do the transformation into Hiruzen and then simply reverting it back, though it was because Mizuki and what's his name, Iruka, Naruto was just she'd done a normal, transformation to Hiruzen, even though it was actually a double transformation. Again, Naruto was under a slight minor transformation for the breasts, but otherwise, so it was technically a double transformation, something that not really any of the Genin, or at least, the academy students have shown they can do as of right now. And I'm sure as hell nobody thought Naruto could do it. That was for damn sure. Anyway, though, from there, she then see, or at least Iruku then asked her to do the clone jutsu, her similarly worst jutsu, as she hadn't been able to do it to date. So she'd put her similarly, she'd do the force of hands, looking as hard as she, or at least looking as concentrated as possible as she could, and made it look like it was the hardest damn jutsu in the known universe for her to do. I should seem to, instead of just doing 3, would instead do 20, to which Iruka would, be somewhat surprised, or at least Iruka and someone Mizuki would be somewhat surprised. And like Naruto seemed to have the jutsu down somewhat. Well, if she could pull off 20, though, yeah, she kind of did. Though in reality, it was a lot easier to make more than it was to make a single one. Though she could make a single one, or the 3, minimum to pass. But figured she'd just do 20, because why not? Wasn't even sure if anybody else could do 20, and yeah. Anyway, though, from there, Iruka would mark it down as extra points, doing more than the necessarily 3, and would simply tell her that she passed, though barely. She just somewhat nod, and yeah, though this was of course also her plan. After all, she had somewhat read, or at least a while ago, not even just read, but Hiruzen had even told him that it once had been a sensei to a team, or at least to Team 7, that was a team comprised of the best 2 in the academy and the worst in the academy, the best 2 being the best shinobi of the year, generally male, and the best Konoichi of the year, female. And then the worst Academy Student of the Year. And figuring that was still probably going on to this day, or, well, yeah, I'd figured, well, why not do so? Plus, also, or at least, and so also as a way to see how good she was at, kind of keeping her, skills and that hidden. And sure, it was somewhat hard to stay the dead last, but hey, she managed to pull through. Anyway, nevertheless, from there, she'd return and Iruku tell how, or at least on how proud he was that they all passed, and that he'd see them in 2 days, yeah, in a day, so not tomorrow, the day after. As you tell them that tomorrow they should, or at least they would have to go to the Hokage's tower office to go and finalize their, to finalize some stuff so that they could be officially, marked down as Genin. They would also nod that they good in that, and yeah, from there you tell them from there the day after that to come back here to learn of your team assignments, what team you'd be placed on to. They'd nod and everyone would leave. The next day, though Naruto or at least somewhat knew that she wasn't technically a true Genin yet, as she'd seen no actual Genins fail, figuring that it'd be kind of at least somewhat useful, surely, right, to some degree, to at least know. And from what she figured, they weren't, or at least when they passed the Genin exams from the academy, they weren't true Genin yet, as that was simply another test that the Jonin gave them, which was the true test, which kind of made sense, as it tended to test all the fields like Genjutsu, Taijutsu, and Ninjutsu. And yeah, anyway. So from there, of course, next day she'd go to the Hokage's office to have a photo taken, and she would just like what she would. Though Hiruzen would kind of try and, or at least somewhat argue that, or at least it was about time, that he's, say, dropped, kind of, the act of pretending to be, female and that he, should start, taking it, a lot more seriously now. Ironically, Naruto was taking it dead seriously. It was just, he just wanted to be underestimated, and, well, even though he was in, or at least, even though, or at least, well, yeah, though Naruto was just secret, or at least quietly, mentally, patting himself on the back for being able to even trick Houston into believing he was actually incredibly bad. But yeah, nevertheless, or at least they would just have slight argument back and forth. Though eventually, Houston would somewhat kind of out of sight, and a few seconds later, just as Naruto was about to get up to leave, Konohamaru would come in. And that whole day would pretty much happen similar to Canon just replace Naruto with cross-dressing. Or at least cross-dressing Naruto. And yeah, anyway, from there, though Naruto, or at least of course, that day would pretty much follow, what the canon was with Naruto winding up teaching Konohamaru the transformation jutsu. And yeah, though after a bit, though, or at least taking or at least a break, or at least somewhat, after, or at least even talking to Konohamaru, Naruto would just kind of actually tell him that he was actually a boy. Just Konohamaru would actually be surprised and would ask Naruto to teach him, to which, after a bit of thinking, figured that we could give, or at least somewhat a bit of payback for trying to argue that, that he was simply, not taking it seriously, and thus teach Konohamaru and transform into a generally some relatively beautiful woman, aka the sexy jutsu. Which, of course, he would end up successfully teaching Konohamaru that, and of course, Konohamaru's teacher, I forgot his name, but he'd show Naruto would end up quite easily, somewhat seducing him as Barracks in the academy, and that kind of saw Naruto as a female, or at least all the academy students, and even the Mizuki did, to such a point that Naruto wound up generally learning about with the other Konoichi about seduction and that, and Naruto did pay very much attention to it, which generally gave Naruto a more full opinion of his account, or at least of the other Konoichis within, or at least, in his class. After all, they were all being the ones actually, treating it like a, game, right? Not taking it seriously. The others weren't, compared to, him, who was very much listening. Sure, he was actually a boy, but whatever, he could always just transform himself completely into a female. Sure, he only had the chest of one, but that, and had grown out his hair, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah. From there, though, from there we'd just go and practice doing the, at least slash a waterfall in half, which then led her to go home and then put on a two-piece swimsuit, and then, do the, or at least, not release the transformation, but put another transformation on top of the current one, so a double transformation. So completely turning him into an eye girl. Put the two-piece swimsuit on to then go to the somewhat small waterfall that she'd found. To then proceed to try and slice it in half. Next day, to be sitting there with Sasuke and Sakura, what would feel like, well, hours, or at least to Sasuke and Sakura, potential hours though. For Naruto, should just been sitting there with her eyes shut, just kind of feel, or at least just deciding to do at least some chakra control, or at least starting to see just how much chakra, or at least how either bad her chakra control had gotten, or how good it had gotten, and potentially just a tiny bit of chakra control of that once she waited. Nevertheless, of course, 3 hours had gone by as Kakashi would walk in, to which he'd look at them all. After he'd open her eyes, and he'd simply go, "My first impressions are of you are, you're all boring. Meet me on the rooftops," he'd say and disappear. That would catch them to wonder if Kakashi would teach them that if they were to pass his test and become true genin, if he would allow them, or if he'd teach them that jutsu, or if it was potentially in the library, to which it potentially was. Yeah, anyway. From there though, Kakashi, or at least Kakashi, or at least Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura would be somewhat up there for almost a minute by the time Naruto would arrive, mainly as Sasuke and Sakura had ran off pretty much immediately. Sasuke after Kakashi and Sakura after Sasuke. And Naruto decided to take a bit longer because there was no real rush really. And plus, he made them wait, 3 damn hours, so you could at least, you could wait an extra minute. Yeah, so well, not really Sasuke, though Sakura was just sending pretty much a glare at, Naruto. Yeah, but anyway, though, nevertheless, she would end up sitting down, and Kakashi would point to Sakura to introduce herself. To which Sakura would kind of, be confused. But Kakashi meant by that, pretty much going similar thing with Kakashi eventually introducing himself, just saying his name, and then just stating that he has likes, he has dislikes, and that he hasn't really thought of a dream, or doesn't really maybe have one. And because from that, Sakura would end up pretty much just revealing the fact that she seems to only think of Sasuke, and Sasuke would feel that he wants revenge for his, or at least that he wants to kill his brother, pretty much. That he wants to kill someone to revenge his clan. And Naruto would decide to do Kakashi, and only she'd go, "Well, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I have likes, I have dislikes, and I've got a dream for the future." She'd sort of say to Kakashi, would kind of scratch up, and she would kind of just cross her sort of arms, sort of under her mum, sort of chest, though under her chest nevertheless. And almost down Kakashi to ask for more, or that, though. Because Kakashi figured that if he to ask Naruto to obviously elaborate more, he'd have to do that for both Sakura and Sasuke, and of course he'd also have to reveal more of himself. So and so from there, the next day would go by. With pretty much Sakura just standing glaring at her, she'd decide to just somewhat, or at least come late. After all, Kakashi, biggest reason was if Kakashi was going to come late then, then he was probably going to appear late again today. Though, slightly having at least some hope that he wasn't at least going to take 3 hours, but feeling like he might, so instead, half the time and do, or at least be, say an hour and a half late. And, only Sasuke and Sakura was there in Dragon Ball 7 where their test was, or at least where they were to be tested. to see if they would to become a team. Fast forward an hour and a half, and fast forward pretty much a slightly similar, though somewhat also different, fight with, like, though with Naruto really not revealing anything besides from simply, or at least kind of, or at least, though Kakashi couldn't help, but ever since he saw similarly, Naruto's similarly poor grades and even the gendered question mark, or at least, he sure as hell knew that Naruto was male, but then how comes the, page from the academy, about Naruto had a question mark on gender. And and that everything just seemed to be just barely possible. It should be nearly impossible. After all, you either only passed or failed, and hardly anyone, if not nobody, had actually rode the line on failure for such a long while, which indicated actually that at least something was definitely not right. And though, of course, nevertheless, though, Naruto would be tied up, Sasuke and Sakura would end up, well, Sasuke would end up giving some of his food to Naruto, to which Sakura would end up doing the same, causing Kakashi to reveal himself and pass them. As this was the second their second chance, right? To pretty much disobey his orders, to pretty much put the team above the actual similar orders. And like his dad did, and once his dad eventually committed suicide, he at least wanted to instill, that it was perfectly fine, and they should at times put the team above the mission. If not, the team should always be, or should, like, the team's very much well-being should almost be truly above the mission. To, an extent, of course. And, Anyway, though, and Mounted figured to spare time than any. I should pretty much proceed to, or at least similarly, easily get out of the tied up, and would simply, or at least similarly, appear in front of Kakashi, surprising both Sasuke and Sakura. And Kakashi just working on it as, or at least somewhat kind of wonder, well, by that, or at least by Naruto's stats, this should be impossible for her to do. And it's Naruto. Oh, well, no, Naruto would come and kind of run up some besides them, and would simply just state that she was actually a boy all this time. Sasuke and Sakura would just kind of stop walking. Kakashi would, well, at least also decide to at least peer back, stopping to just see some kind of Sasuke and Sakura just staring at Naruto, and Naruto going, just somewhat shrugging, going, what? I was always born a somewhat boy. How do you ask Kakashi Sensei here? And you'd confirm that my boy, after all, he probably has some information on us from sort of the old man, which Kakashi would not stating that Naruto was indeed a boy. Even though really the information Hizunada gave him stated that Naruto was a questionable gender. It was an unknown gender, seemingly. But anyway, though, from there, I'm going to end this part here, guys. Sorry for this being kind of drawn out and or just shorter than normal. I don't know, not necessarily would it be, no, it's that I want to do this, but at the same time I kind of find it not difficult to do, but just I don't know. It's hard to explain what I'm currently feeling, but just know that I'm just pretty much wind. I hope I feel at least a lot better tomorrow, as I will be live streaming tomorrow. Anyway, hope you guys guys have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are, whenever you watch this, and goodbye.